I don't think a lot of people know what success is. I think they think success means you have a lot of followers, you're famous. Success comes when you feel fulfilled. Every fitness influencer seems to push the message of it's all a fad, it's very simple, calories in, calories out. I don't buy it.
Do you want me to shove it down me?
Yeah. What sort of podcast is this? I've been invited to.
Oh, took weeks of prep.
Nailed it.
No, thank you. Stop. That's it. We're done. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome. See you later.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Jill Spills. This week we're going to be spilling the tea on the man behind Antics. So today I bring you the very lovely Ant.
Hello.
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 How are you?
Very good, thank you. Yeah, really good. Thank
How
you
you
for having
feeling?
me. Good. Now my toe's on the mend. I'm feeling a bit better. I've had a bit of a toe injury. So, yeah, that's best bit of advice I can give probably from this whole thing that you take away is just look after your big toe because I've been struggling with that. And if you can't walk on your big toe, you're buggered.
You're buggered.
Other than that, I'm good. Thank you.
So today, you are the man, the founder behind Antics, which is your fitness group classes that you've built to astounding numbers, which we'll come to after. Basically, let's talk a bit about yourself. How did you start the journey? What made you get to where you are today?
Okay, so I started the fitness journey. 2010 is when I actually got qualified in the fitness industry. So I was 25, and if I go back a little bit before that, I was because obviously 25, I'd done other things before that, so I was quite late into just work in general because I suffered, which I'm sure we'll get into, all through high school, really low self-esteem and problems with my weight, really overweight, also my mental health, severe anxiety on a daily basis, and then that also manifested into panic attacks from the age of 17 to about 24, multiple panic attacks a day. And I don't mean like getting a little bit panicky. I was like fainting on many occasions and coming very close on other occasions. So really was hiding away from the world. And then the one thing that sort of helped me through to build up my self-esteem and also give me a bit of an escape was exercise. And because of that, it was at the age of 25 that I said to the gym that I was working at, David Lloyd, do you have any spaces here for me to work on the gym floor? At that point, I'd just been doing kids classes for 3 years, I think, 2 or 3 years I'd been at David Lloyd. And the reason I picked doing kids classes, it was like 2 hours work a day, and I was working with 3 to 5 year olds. They don't judge you. So it felt a lot more comfortable for me to be in that environment where I thought, I wasn't ready to go out into the big wide world where I was having these panic attacks all the time. I just wasn't ready to face it. So I did that. Then at 25, I say 24, 25, started working on the gym floor, then went through my qualifications, level 2 fitness instructor, and level 3 personal training, and then other qualifications. And I spent 3 years on the gym floor at David Lloyd, and then built up quite a good client base. Started doing classes, which got really popular, and I loved them. And that is when 2013 I started Antics. Essentially, I went and did a class outside, not knowing if anyone was going to turn up to it. I'd invited lots of people and stood there. I remember so vividly how I felt on that day and just leading up to it. As I walked into the park with my stereo, you'll probably know that feeling. You're putting yourself out there and there's every chance nobody's going to come. And you're just thinking, for one, I'm going to look stupid. I'm going to embarrass myself to anyone who's know that I'm doing this, and then they've not turned up. And then at about 5 minutes to 10, the class started at 10 o'clock. There was no one there. And I was like, at least, like, this is pretty embarrassing, but there's always still a chance. So there was a few people that said I'm definitely coming, so I was confident they would. About 5 minutes to 10, a car came in. I recognised it. It was a girl called Philip. I was like, thank God, well, at least I can do like a PT session. And then suddenly all these cars started coming in. I was like, and we had 30 people, exactly 30 people, which was like, I couldn't believe it. I was so
Amazing.
happy. And then
They always leave it to the last minute, don't they? People coming up for a
even to
class.
this day, and I don't stress about it now because I'm like 11 years into my company, but still a lot. I'm sure they stood outside the park looking like, are they worried yet? Are they sweating? And then, yeah, when they think you're adequately worried, they start pouring in because that's
Oh yeah.
honestly, it's a trend that they've continued. But yeah, had 30 people. Started off doing one class a week on a Saturday morning, and next week it rained. I thought, is anyone going to come? We had 19, which was good, and then 26, 23, and then suddenly it just went up and up and up to like 30s, 40s. So we put on a Thursday class, and then later a Monday class as well. And basically, it has gone to the point where, as I say, we're 11 years in, and I'm really proud of the fact that we average about 150 a class now.
That's
So
amazing.
normally see between maybe 350 to 450 people per week. 100, and we've just done an offer where you can sign up for the rest of the year. So we're in May now as we film it, and 132 people have signed up for the rest of the year,
That's
which is
great.
brilliant. And then we've got different people that sign up just monthly as well. Another like 30 or 40 have signed up just for May. And yeah, I've got other stuff, Antics Flex, which is online. Because obviously it got to the point where I was like, I'm so busy. I want to reach more people, but not everyone's local to me.
Yeah.
So we've got Antics Flex, which is an online subscription thing, $9.99 a month, and you can just do these pre-recorded workouts whenever you want to do them. And we've got a few hundred subscribers on that from around the world. And Transformantics nutrition plans. So again, helping more people that I wouldn't have been able to do when I was just doing classes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how we got there.
Well, that obviously sounds hard work, but incredible. So, taking you back to where it all began, you were saying at school, bit of a difficult time for you, anxieties, panic attacks. What was the story behind that? You know, you said you were overweight. You know, what was your relationship with food, and what was your school journey like?
Yeah, I mean, looking back, I I feel bad saying it because had such a privileged childhood, and there will be people watching and listening that have not had such privileges that are like, who are you to be saying that? And there's people in other parts of the world with all sorts of disadvantages. So I've no doubt how lucky I was in terms of having an amazing family and all the support I need and everything like that. So had a great background and beginning, but for whatever reason, I was just cripplingly shy, anxious child. I couldn't like going to birthday parties or something. I'd be the one, I wouldn't let my mum leave. And like I was just scared, and the sick feeling in my stomach every night before having to go to bed for school the next day, and then waking up with this dread. So I always had that throughout. It mainly was from about high school. I think I'm not very tall, and I think at primary school, so I was always one of the smallest. At
Yeah.
primary school, you just get to year 6 and you're like, okay, finally I feel a bit comfortable. And then thrust into a new school, a big school,
Yeah.
I felt tiny. My backpack, I was with, the kid with a backpack that's bigger than them.
Yeah.
That was
Oh.
me. And then I'm suddenly around all these like what looked like giants, and I became really quite anxious and unhappy at school. And I think I turned to food as my comfort. I would used to line up bags of crisps, like 5 or 6 bags, and chocolate bars and everything when I got home, and just go through them all, and I'd just eat rubbish. And I started to put on more and more weight, which obviously just made me feel worse about myself. And my nickname at school was Chunky, and I was actually given to me by a teacher, believe it or not, that name, which nowadays, like, you're gasping, like, that's terrible. Like, he was a great teacher, and he didn't mean it with
Yeah.
any malice. It was like an affectionate nickname. So
Yeah.
I won't name him, but he was a great teacher.
Yeah.
But it was given to me by him, and then that was a nickname that I was given by everyone, and it just about beat the alternative for me, which was being completely unknown, was to at least be known for being chunky. So I
Right.
took on, because we all want to be known. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, we all want to feel like we're noticed, that our lives matter, which is why I think often people, you look nowadays with social media, so people are so like, like just craving that attention.
Yeah.
They don't care what they get attention for, which is why you can be extremely successful in terms of followers, fame, even financially, but really unfulfilled. And when you're successful but unfulfilled, the ultimate failure, because you're
Yeah.
like, why I should be happy. But yeah, it was that I took it on chunky because, well, at least people kind of know me. I'm chunky, but wasn't happy. And
Yeah.
then
Do you look at it now a little bit and think, yeah, it was a name that you've been known by, but now looking back, it probably was putting you in a worse
yeah, definitely,
headspace.
because it became my reality, and it's not the reality I wanted. So yeah, I was known for this thing. I was known as chunky, quite funny, chubby kid. It's not what I wanted to be known as. So it was only like deep down I knew that, and I think a lot of people probably take that through their whole life. Sort of, I'm gonna just be defined by how everyone else sees me.
Yeah.
Whereas you should be defined by how you want to be. How you see yourself is far more important than how other people see you. So you can't let what you've been up until now and what you're known for become who you are, be who you are from this moment on. The same thing happened when I was, as I said, working with the kids' classes for 3 years or 2 years, then crossed over into the gym. I was walking around the gym thinking like, they're just going to see me. If I go up and try and correct their form, are they going to be like, he's the guy from the kids' class? That's because that's who I was known for.
Yeah.
But wasn't who I wanted to be known as. So you have a responsibility to always go, right, is this working for me? Is this actually who I want to be? Doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. And at first they'll go, you can't do that. You're that guy. You're the fat kid. You can't be in shape. You're the guy who works with kids. You can't tell me what to do. But so there will be a crossover period, but it won't be years. It will be a couple of weeks. But a lot of people are so scared to take that leap because they think people are going to be like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Just fuck them. Like, if you want to do it and you believe you're good enough, then do it. And it will soon become your new reality. And you meet all new people who only know you as that anyway.
Yeah.
Which is why a lot of people know me now as who I am. And they don't, like, they've never questioned, you can't be doing that.
Yeah.
And then the people that I was at school with, a lot of them have been to my classes, and they're like, I can't believe you're the same person, and I love that.
Right. So they've watched you evolve, basically, these people that were calling you that chunky
Yeah.
and now seeing where you are now with Antics.
Definitely, and but no doubt they would be the people that when you start doing it, you don't go from being out of shape to, I've done fitness modelling and been sponsored by like nutrition company. That doesn't happen overnight. There will be a time where it goes like you have to just start not hating yourself as much, do a bit better, and then it might be that someone goes, you've lost a bit of weight, haven't you? And that's enough to go, yeah, I have.
Yeah.
And then it becomes the next thing, and you're all right, let's push it even more. So you're not going to go from hating yourself to loving yourself, or having a life you hate to a life you love overnight. You just have to constantly be evaluating, is this working for me? And if not, and by working for me, I mean, is it making me happy, fulfilled? Is this who I want to be? And if it isn't, then you can change at any moment. And that's what I did, luckily. And I'm so happy that I did, because it would have been very easy to just go through life being the person that everyone thought I should be.
How old were you when you started to realise that I need to make a change, or this isn't me anymore and I'm going to start making that change? And did you ever think that you were able to talk to anyone like that teacher of how you felt at the time?
No, because I don't even think I knew how unhappy I was.
Right.
It's because I'm so happy now that I can look back.
Right.
It was just my norm. But no, I think it was during my GCSEs, so when I was probably, 16, I started to lose weight, and I didn't do it healthily. I didn't know what I was doing. I stopped snacking completely, was under eating, but because people were going, you've lost weight, that was motivating me.
Yeah.
And that's when I maybe I got a set of like Argos weights and started doing weights in my mum and dad's bedroom, just like half-hour a day, and then it'd be like I could feel a bit of muscle there, and it's like it went from there, and exercise definitely became the thing that just changed how I saw about myself. The funny thing was, when I was 17, I'd lost a bit of weight. I was actually starting to get, not attention as in, because I'd never had a girlfriend through high school. I'd never kissed a girl. The idea of, like, I wouldn't want to walk into the high street with my family in case I saw a girl. I was that shy. But
So this is still crippling, even like this anxiety, and that is still like, you know, it hasn't gone away. It's actually still very much in force.
what, then or now?
Then in
Yeah,
17.
definitely. No, and the interesting thing is, I don't want to put anyone off exercise or bettering themselves, but the interesting thing is, all through high school, although I was miserable and overweight, because I kind of just accepted no one was gonna really pay me any attention, I never suffered with anything like panic attacks. I just felt a bit miserable and had the anxiety about school and stuff.
Okay.
It was when I started getting a little bit of attention into compliments, I became more aware of how I looked, and that is when my panic attacks started.
Right.
Because I think panic attacks are, or my ones certainly were, a fear of looking stupid, of having a panic attack, how I would look in front of other people. That was my big thing. Don't have a panic attack because you're going to look stupid to all these people. Whereas before that, because I didn't really care how I looked, because I just, no one noticed me that much anyway.
Yeah.
But when I started to get it, and that's when I was like, well, I don't want to look stupid. And my first panic attack, when I was sat in a psychology lesson when I was 17, watching a program about a guy who hit his head and lost his memory, and he was walking around saying, "Hi, I'm Mike," or whatever, and then he'd introduce himself to the same person 3 seconds later, "Hi, I'm Mike." And I started panicking, going, that is so easy that can happen. I can hit my head when I go home. My mum's at home now. She might have hit her head. And I started really panicking. I started going, I don't know whether you've ever had panic attacks or anything, but it's this sort of, the walls close in on you and you feel your body language, like you're doing this. For me, I was sweating like I'd just run a marathon. I was so lightheaded and dizzy, like I'm gonna faint.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear, went deaf. It was like my head was in a goldfish bowl. Heart, I could feel it. It felt like a heart attack. I was like, I've never had these feelings. So I put my head on the desk. I was like, I need to get out. And then the lesson ended. I walked home in a complete daze. I was like, that was scary. I didn't know what had just happened. Didn't know it was a panic attack.
Yeah.
And then the next day I was sat in an assembly hall, probably about 500 kids around me. And I don't know what the assembly was about, something like not anything particularly important or threatening. But I just remember thinking, if I have those feelings that I had yesterday in psychology, if I have those now, I'm fucked because I can't get out. And before I know what happened,
You're getting now anxious.
I brought on exactly the same feelings: sweating, I'm gonna faint, just dizzy, bright red, head in a goldfish bowl. And at that moment, that was the problem, because the day before wasn't really a panic attack. It was stupid, but it was about something very like rational fear. No one wants to lose their memory.
No.
That's a scary thing to happen. The next day, there was nothing scary happening. I just brought on the panic attack purely by the fear of having one.
Yeah.
And it escalated very quickly for about 7 years of not wanting to leave my house. And there were times where I didn't leave my house for days on end. If people were asking me, like mum and dad even, do you want to go for a meal? No. And I didn't tell them for the first few years the reason why.
So you didn't? Because I was going to say that first one you had in the psychology room, when you went home that night, did you not even think of saying, "Mum, I had this weird feeling"?
No, I was embarrassed.
Right.
I was embarrassed. So for about 2 or 3 years, I didn't tell anyone. I just made excuses. No, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do it. And I didn't leave. I didn't do anything really. I got a graphic design degree. after I left school, after I left sixth form. And for me, that was again because it seemed like I wasn't ready to go and work because I not with these panic attacks. It just wouldn't be happening. Wouldn't be able to even be in a shop if a customer's talking to me. I'd have a panic. So I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So I needed to continue something like school, which is why I went and did a graphic design degree. And I don't know how I got through that graphic design degree and managed to pass. I think got like 2-1, but because I used to go in, do the register, and then go home. Like literally,
Really?
I was any lectures, I would try and swerve them. Occasionally, I'd force myself to go in, but I'd have to check the surroundings. I'd need to be by the back so that I can get out.
You're pre-planning everything, basically.
Yeah,
Your journey, where you're sitting, when you're going to leave.
Yeah, because it was just all that would be in my head 24/7 would be, don't have a panic attack. So I wouldn't be present talking to you now. I'd be thinking, there'd be something there going, don't you dare start overthinking this and sweating and getting like the palpitations and
And you're now
everything.
trying to ignore that.
Yeah, and because of it, you got no chance. You're gonna have it. Like if you're saying don't think of it, you're thinking of it.
Yeah.
You've probably heard, don't think of a pink elephant.
Yeah.
It's impossible. It's what you think. So if you're going, don't think about a panic attack, don't have it, you got no chance. So for the first 2 or 3 years, didn't tell anyone. Then I went to a restaurant with my mum and dad. Obviously felt brave one day. I was like, you need to push yourself. And I was like, I need to get out. And I went out, and then because I was having a panic attack, and then mum came out and said, what's happening? We've noticed you being a bit like this. And then I opened up a bit more, and they're like, oh, we'll get you help. So that's when counselling, hypnotherapy, when antidepressants I was on, and all these things and all these techniques to try and figure out how to beat my panic attacks, like everything from lavender on a hanky to try and slow down my heart rate and stuff like that. And for about 3 or 4 years after that, they got worse. And I can look back now and see exactly why that happened. And I see it in so many people. And the advice that I will give now is advice that people will hate if they're suffering with it. I would have hated it, because what you want to hear is, here's the cure and you won't have them anymore. And that's not going to happen. It's impossible. So the advice, the only way I believe you can truly beat it is to not fear it. Not to, as I say, all the time you don't want to have it. The minute you feel it, or just go into anywhere where you wouldn't want to have that experience, you're going to have it, because you've said, don't have it, don't have it. If you go into it going, have it then. Have a panic attack. Faint if you want. Like, you've immediately made it less scary.
Yeah.
And
More accepting.
yeah, like you're allowed to have it. And it's not nice. But if you think anyone's going to judge you, no one gives a shit about you. In life, no one your family does, a couple of close friends, but you can literally faint, and 5 minutes later, the people that have seen it have forgotten it, because they've got a million things going on in their own mind about their own stuff. So for me, the way I beat it was to no longer have this excuse that I'd been using for the 3 or 4 years after I'd admitted to having them. I can't do that because I have these panic attacks. The way to beat them was when someone said, do you want to do something? Do you want to go for a meal? Yes. And deep down I was thinking, no, but yes is the answer. And you go and you make yourself. And it might start off with 9 times out of 10 you go and have a panic attack, but you celebrate the 1 time out of 10 that you don't. And then eventually it becomes 2 times out of 10 you don't. And eventually you get to the point where I am today, where 90% of the time I don't have one.
Right.
But it's still there.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Like just the other week, I was just at the hairdresser's, and I just felt a bit like, in fact, a better example is when I'm teaching Antics. Often get really lightheaded because like if working hard,
Yeah.
and then you've got 150 people looking at you, and if I stop for a minute and go, fuck, like, don't have a panic attack, it's gonna come on. But now it is consciously relax my body language rather than do what I used to, relax
Yeah.
my body language, slow down my breathing, because your breathing is so important. When it's the first thing that changes based on how you feel. So when you're like laughing, your breathing changes, and when you're crying, your breathing changes, and when you're excited, your breathing. So if you can do it the other way around, rather than breathe determined by how you're feeling, but you focus on how you breathe, sorry, then how you feel, you naturally will feel how you're instructing your body to feel.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is really, it's a real challenge and a battle. So if anyone's facing it, it's not going to be easy, but it will absolutely be the best battle you'll ever fight, and you will beat it because you've learned these feelings, you've learned these fears, and you can unlearn them. And that can take a long time, but when you do, you it's really liberating. You get to a place where you're really strong, and you're like, I don't care. I don't care what anyone thinks of me. I don't care if I have a panic attack. It's like, if I do, I do. I'm a human, and I'm doing my best.
Do you think, it's probably an obvious question, but do you think, looking back, you wish you spoke to your mum and dad sooner about it, or it just, you can't answer that because it just wasn't possible?
No, I don't really think so. I think, like I say, it actually probably made it worse when I started telling people, and I have to be responsible with that message, because you have to talk. Like, not acknowledging them is like having a garden full of rubbish and weeds and just closing the curtains. It's not going to help. It's still there. But once you open the curtain, like, right, I need to start dealing with this, it will become painful because you see it. But that's when you can start to go and pull a weed out one at a time. And like, what you can't do is be defined by it. Be like, well, I have this. Want sympathy, want excuses. That's not to say I don't feel for you, but really, I needed people to not, oh, Anne, I'm so sorry you're facing it. Yeah, don't go. Don't do this uncomfortable thing. I needed someone to go, yeah, that's pretty shit, but come on, it's fine. And sort of force you to do it. And you need to force yourself, because no one's going to save you. There's no reason why you won't go through your whole life feeling that and just never getting through it. It's down to you to go, that's not working for me. I'm going to need to change, and it's going to be really fucking uncomfortable.
So what helped you get over that? What kind of things helped you to try and get past, or make the panic attacks become, I don't know, normalizing them almost?
I think it was really important to be kinder to myself, in terms of when I did have one, rather than beat myself up about it for days after. You're an idiot, you're a weirdo, you're the only one that has this. Realizing you have them for whatever reason, and it doesn't make you a bad person. And if anyone's judging you, they're not really worth worrying about anyway. Because yeah, I wasn't going out killing anyone. I was just having these panic attacks, and it just wasn't nice. So yeah, I just think, looking back, what would have beaten it sooner, even though I'm glad it ran its course and really controlled me for 7 years, because it let me grow in that time. But what I needed was to stop running away from them, stop trying not to have them, but start to accept them, not enjoy them, not want to have them, but accept them. Accept it. Part being a human means you can experience feelings you don't want to feel, and it doesn't make you a bad person, and it's nothing to really be ashamed of. So being a bad person is something to be ashamed of, not feeling anxious. So
Yeah.
sort of like, the difference between excitement and anxiety, physiologically there's no difference. Your body experiences exactly the same thing. So if you just run a marathon, you're going to leave that marathon feeling exhausted. Your heart's going to be thumping, you're going to be sweating, you're going to be bright red, but you're going to be exhilarated and feel the best you've ever felt. But if you're sat in a lecture theatre or on a bus, and you're feeling exactly the same, heart beating too fast, like sweating, out of breath, and bright red, you're going to be going, this is terrible. This is a panic attack. Exactly the same things are happening. The difference is how you've perceived the two. So if you can learn to perceive them as, okay, cool, like this is a good thing, it's excitement. That's what I do for Antics now. Often we've had over 200 people in class, and I was going to schools as well and give assemblies to 500 kids. As they're introducing me, I feel my heart beating faster, but whereas back then I would have been like, shit, now it is, I'm excited.
Yeah.
So consciously do the things I said about the body language, the breathing, the facial expression, just relax. But tell myself, I'm excited. I can't wait to get stuck in. You've got to kind of convince yourself and front it a little bit, because deep down you know there's nerves there. But your life is basically how you perceive it.
Yeah.
So if you want to perceive those emotions as a good thing, then you can. If you perceive them as this is a terrible thing, then they're going to control you.
You mentioned about going into schools. So you've been doing some talks on mental health. Is that right? What age group have you? Is it been secondary school?
Yeah, normally secondary school. So that I think all different ages from probably 12 up until about 16.
And are you chatting about panic attacks? Like, what are you giving?
Tends to be mainly about my panic attacks. Yeah, it's also been about stuff like pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, because I look at my life now and I'm so blessed with the life I've got, with in terms of the business I've got and the relationship I've got and everything, but none of it would have been possible if I wouldn't have pushed myself out of my comfort zone. So you really got to be prepared to be uncomfortable and embrace that feeling, because it really is where the growth happens. If you look at weight training, if you're doing a bicep curl and you do 8 reps and it's not too difficult, if you try and do that 9th and it gets difficult and it's uncomfortable, so you put the weight down, you're never going to get stronger. Your muscle isn't going to get stronger. But if you get to that point where there's resistance and you're uncomfortable, but you push through it and you get an extra rep, that's where the growth happens. And it's exactly the same mentally. You get to that point where there's resistance and tension. It's like, this is uncomfortable. Don't run from it. Don't put the weight down. Stay in this uncomfortable position, and it's liberating. You come through it and you're like, nothing bad happened. In fact, I did better than I thought I would.
Yeah.
So whenever you can do that in different aspects of your life, it's when you grow.
Touching back on the relationship aspect, you're in a wonderful relationship now. You can tell us more about that. But how did, with everything that you were going through mentally, physically, the anxiety, how did that affect your relationships?
Yeah, I mean, my first relationship, I think, was when I was like 19 or 20. So I'd lost a bit of weight, was starting to feel better about myself. And
Yeah.
for the first time ever, thought I could probably get a girlfriend. So, yeah, in the years of probably 20 to maybe like 25, 26, dating various girls, had relationships, all lovely. And there were times where the panic was a problem, in terms of, certainly as a girl I was with for about 2.5 years, and I remember certain things like she wanted me to go for meals with her family, and I do remember thinking like, I don't want to do this, and it was because I was thinking, am I going to be sat by the door? Am I going to be like, so stuff like that. But it's perfectly normal to be nervous about meeting your partner's family. So it was not a massive issue, but it was there. It definitely was something I wasn't comfortable with. I think where I really got control of my panic was, like I say, forced myself to be uncomfortable. But then when I started Antics and it grew and grew and grew, I felt the longer it's gone on and the more popular it's become, I felt less need for other people's approval. And now I'm obviously at a point where I help a lot of people, and I'm proud of that. I've kind of proved that I'm quite good at teaching classes, because I don't know whether any other class in the country gets those sorts of numbers. So I have nothing to prove. to anyone else. So because I have nothing to prove to myself or anyone else, I feel pretty good about myself. I spend my life helping people, and I'm told that I'm quite good at what I do. So, like, yeah.
What would you say is important in a relationship? So if someone now is feeling what you've been going through and they feel, uncomfortable, or they feel silly talking about it, what would you say is vital to that partner or their husband, wife, whatever?
Without a doubt, the most important thing in a relationship, in my opinion, is constant communication.
Yeah.
Every single day. Just because you've been with someone for 50 years and you live in the same house as them, that other person, you can't just expect them to know how you're feeling all the time. So by constantly communicating calmly how you're feeling, so that if I'm sat there quiet with my partner, I don't want my partner thinking, have I done something to upset them? I need to be like, I feel really low. It's not you, babe. Let's have a hug. But just to let you know, I feel really low. If they've done something to upset you, they're like, I know you've probably not done it to upset me, but this is how it made me feel. And then it's for the partner to not get defensive and go, well, you're being stupid, but to go, oh, I'm so sorry. I had no idea it made you feel that way. Like, I'll explain it. It was nothing like you've taken it, but I get it's made you feel that way and I apologise. So constant communication. It's like kind of like this belief that you find a partner and you somehow become one person, and it's not. You're two different people living your own separate lives, but you should enhance the other person's life. So be there for them, but your happiness is your responsibility and their happiness is their responsibility. And it's quite selfish to demand or expect the other person to constantly lift you up. They'll be there. They should be there for you if they care about you.
Yeah.
But to constantly make them responsible for your mood when they're trying to navigate through their own mood in life, it's difficult. So take responsibility for your feelings, your emotions, your actions. Calmly communicate that with your partner, and then you'll find that you hopefully get a nice blossoming relationship. Because the worst thing you can do is just, when you've been with someone a certain amount of time, take them for granted. And a lot of people do it. Like, people take things for granted if they've just had it their whole life. So, like, you probably don't wake up every day and go, I got legs, and you're so grateful. But if you lose a leg in an accident, then you're going to notice how lucky you are. And it's the same for everything. I'm so grateful for my business, for the people in my life, and I'm so grateful for my girlfriend. And she's just amazing in every way. She's stunning, but just beautiful person. So kind, funny. She's an amazing mum. So, yeah, I just think to nurture the relationship is the important bit, because we can all fall in love. We can all fall in lust and get a bit excited because this is new and new is exciting.
Yeah.
But if you want it to last forever, if you want to a nice lawn at home, you're going to need to water it every day. You can't just water it for the first month when it's nice, and it's new. You got to do that every day. And it's the same with a relationship. You've got to be like, I'm so grateful for you. It can never be, I just expect them to be there because they've been there every day. And then you get a bit frustrated or angry and you snap at them. People, that's what people do in relationships. They snap. Or arguments are healthy. I don't see it that way. I think conversations are healthy. Differences of opinion are healthy. But an argument is when you're saying, I'm right.
Yeah.
Whereas
Absolutely.
a conversation should be like, okay, we're not trying to be right or wrong or point score. We want to come to a resolution. So I just want you to know how I feel, and I want to respect how you feel, and then we move on. So yeah, constantly communicating. You fell for each other because you cared deeply about each other in the start, and for whatever reason, what you may have slipped into the trap of doing is just taking it for granted, because once you've had them, it's different to once you're trying to get something. Your attitude might change once you think, well, I've just got it now. You need to maintain that attitude every day for the rest of your life. And even if you've been together 50 years, if you stop doing it, your relationship's going to go sour.
Yeah.
I have that attitude with Jade, and I have that attitude with my members at Antics. We may have been going 11 years and got bigger and bigger and bigger, but every single time they come, I'm going to tell them, thank you so much. You've no idea how much it means to me. I'm never going to be like, yeah, of course we're going to get loads of people. I'm so grateful, because if I don't keep looking after you or that or Jade or my business, it won't just maintain.
So with the story that you've told us and your journey through, you know, school and your anxiety and your panic attacks, obviously moving to now, I know it's something like you look into maybe having children of your own. You have children in the current family that you have. What sort of advice, what sort of what am I trying to say here? What sort of advice, or how would you like to bring them up, learning and guiding them in a way that they don't necessarily have to go through what you went through?
That's a good question. I think the first thing I would encourage them to always do is push themselves within reason to be uncomfortable, because I don't want them to miss out on anything they want to do because their fear of what might go wrong or how scared they are or how whatever. So that's the first thing, but also to really live the life you want to live, not the life that society tries to tell you to live, because in this day and age especially, it's terrible with social media.
100%.
I don't think a lot of people know what success is. I think they think success means you have a lot of followers, or you're famous. Success means you go on Love Island. Good example of that is people often used to ask me, not so much now, but when I started Antics, it was a similar time where Joe Wicks, the body coach, really suddenly blew up. And a lot of people were like, oh, you're going to be like Joe Wicks one day. Back then, 11 years ago, I was probably a bit like, maybe. And I think I would have probably wanted it. Now, absolutely would not want to swap with him in a million years.
Yeah.
Because on the surface, he's probably more successful than me, because he's got however many millions of followers. He'll be probably a billionaire. I don't know, like he must earn a hell of a lot of money. So I'm sure he's got a fantastic life. But does that make him more successful than me? Because for me, I'm living my dream life. By that I mean I do what I want when I want. Because of my lifestyle now, where Antics is so big, as long as I can, I've got 3 times a week I teach these classes and I love them. So that requires me to give 100% of what I've got. I spend a bit of time a day writing nutrition plans, can be an hour. And I've got this Antics Flex, which runs itself. I just have to upload videos because we filmed loads. So I basically have the freedom to do what I want when I want. And that means I can train when I want, eat when I want, see my family when I want, see my girlfriend and the girls when I want, walk my dog when I want. And I can do what I want. And for me, that is success. So I earn enough money to comfortably live the life I want to live. I'm never going to hopefully struggle for food or anything like that. I like where I live. I love what I do. But if I suddenly earned Joe Wicks's money, what would I change? Absolutely nothing. Because it's time that you can't get back.
Yeah.
And the things that make me happy are all the things that I've just said. So more money won't make me more successful and more happy. Will being known by more people make me happier? Well, I like the idea of being known by that many, in that I can help that many, but I don't want it to make me feel good about myself, because I feel pretty good about myself anyway. So having 20 million followers won't make me feel better about myself than I feel now. And the difference with me and someone like him, or someone that goes on Love Island, or someone who suddenly gets famous, is their diary's not normally their own. So they can't do what they want when they want. Joe, you've got to be in a meeting here. And by the way, Joe's probably got a great life. A lot of you probably know him. He's local, and he's just smashing it, and he's a good guy. But I wouldn't want that life. I wouldn't want to go to the shops and get recognised anyway. I wouldn't want to get recognised by every single person that I see. Like even going up to London and like just having people take pictures. I want to like just go and chill with my girlfriend, with my family, whatever. So my advice would be you define what success looks like to you, and that is what I'll try and pass on to my kids. So they don't have to be doing the same thing that I do. They can be like a caretaker at school, whatever they want to be.
Yeah.
That they're just as successful. You're just as successful as someone who is earning millions or whatever. Success comes when you feel fulfilled. So you have to understand what makes you feel fulfilled. And I think humans tend to feel fulfilled when two things happen. One, they get a sense of growth because we're human beings. We're meant to grow. We're meant to live and grow. We're just not meant to go round in circles and slowly get older and deteriorate. We're meant to actually learn as we go. So that sense of growth makes you feel alive and fulfilled, which is why I'm so passionate about exercise and eating well and learning new things like podcasts, because that makes you feel I'm growing as a person. It's not just that I want to look a certain way, so I need to eat well. This is making me healthier, fitter, stronger. So that sense of growth gives you a sense of fulfillment. And also the other thing is giving back. When you'll all know when you've done something and it's helped someone and you've made them feel better, you get this unrivaled sense of satisfaction.
Yeah.
More than any amount of money can give you. Which is why I love Antics, because I look around, there's 150 people. Some of them come in looking like they got the weight of the world on their shoulders, and they leave smiling, laughing, and you're like, you've done that. And it's brilliant. So I'd pass that message on to my kids or anyone watching, that just you decide what it is that makes you feel alive, what you enjoy doing. And for me, it was exercise, but and do it with all you've got. Because if you're doing what you love, you've already made it.
And I think doing something like this today, if someone's listening and heard your story, you could, without even realise, help someone today thinking, oh, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to talk to someone, or I'm going to learn those little tips that you explained
hope so.
earlier. And that would be amazing if that is. So what would your dummy's guide, as you say, to get into fitness and maintaining it the best they can?
So I think the first thing I would focus on is you got to enjoy what you're doing. There's no point, right, I need to be in shape, so I'm going to eat chicken and vegetables, nothing else, and I'm going to get up at 5 every morning and I'm going to go for a 5-mile run because it's going to get me in shape. I'm going to hate my life, and it was only a matter of time before you go, do you know what, I don't care how I look, this is miserable. So even if you do get to the point where you look fantastic, you won't maintain it long because you're not enjoying it. So you've got to find stuff that you enjoy. It might be playing a sport, it might be going for a run, it might be that you don't enjoy anything like that, but you just find something that you are like, do you know what, I quite enjoy that. And there are lots of different forms of it, and it's different to everyone. But yeah, if you can do something, even if it's that you put your favourite album on and you're like, I'm going to do a little workout to this 15-minute album every day, and I'm just pay attention to how you feel afterwards, and you'll just be left feeling so much better. So definitely exercise wise, you want to work your heart, you want to work your lungs. So anytime you can get yourself out of breath with cardio, so stuff that isn't just a walk, which is good for like aerobic fitness, but anaerobic, where the presence of oxygen is like you can't take it in as quickly as you're using it, so you're getting out of breath. So anything like that is good for your heart and lungs. Anytime it's so important to work your muscles and do resistance training, not to look good, that's a byproduct, but because if you lose your muscle, you're going to find it difficult when you get older to get out of a chair. Okay, so it will get up the stairs and stuff like that. So you'll notice, don't take your health for granted. As you get older, you will feel that, and I would encourage you to do some sort of resistance training as well. And in terms of eating, I always think nowadays, you would have seen a lot, everyone, every fitness influencer seems to push the message of it's all a fad. It's very simple. Calories in, calories out. I don't buy it. I understand that is important because you can't be eating more calories than you're burning off, or you're going to store them. But if you eat 2,000 calories a day by having a Big Mac meal and a milkshake and a chocolate bar and nothing else, and you have 2,000 calories a day from whole foods, lean proteins like chicken, fish, eggs, meat, healthy like fats, nuts, seeds, avocados, fibrous vegetables, some fruit, and drinking lots of water. Same amount of calories. You ain't going to look the same and you're not going to feel the same. So it's about your hormones as well.
Yeah.
It will affect your mood. It will affect inflammation. The majority, it might even be 4 out of 5 deaths are recorded due to inflammation of cells. And when we eat bad food or have anything in our body that is bad for us, you get inflammation of cells. Anytime you're putting stuff into your body that is good for you, you're not having that. You're reducing inflammation. So I would strongly encourage you to focus on a diet of real food, regardless of how many calories. You can't eat 10,000 calories worth of real food, but be aware of how many calories you're eating, be consistent with it, and focus on real food, not because of how it will make you look, but because of what it's doing in your body and reducing inflammation. And again, because you want it to be enjoyable, because life's meant to be fun. Don't want to be all or nothing. Don't want to be 100% and be like, I'm going to eat perfectly, and then 3 weeks later, I'm going to binge for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
70-30 rule works for me and probably works for most, meaning, generally speaking, I'll go 3 or 4 days eating lean proteins, healthy fats, fibre, and then I'll have something that I wouldn't normally have. It might be ice cream, might be a burger. And then I'll do it again for 3 or 4 days and then have a pizza. Or if I know I'm going to particularly go for it at a weekend, then I'll be good all week and don't make up for it by having 20,000 calories at the weekend, but just have something you wouldn't be prepared to have normally or shouldn't have normally because it's probably not particularly good for you. Okay? Say, can't label foods as healthy or unhealthy. Well, I think you can. Because some foods are good for you and what it's doing in your body, and some foods are packed full of additives and processed ingredients that your body's having a hard time digesting. And focus on the natural stuff, but then the dangers in the dosage. Just get the ratio right that allows you to be healthy, move forward, but have a life. So go out and enjoy what you want once or twice a week as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's about balance, isn't it? Because especially if you've got a family or a busy work life, you've got to have those enjoyable moments, as you say. Otherwise, then you get unhappy and then it can all spiral. So I think that's great to hear. Antics, where's it going? What's the next level? Where would you like to get it to? I mean, you're doing great so far. I mean, I've done a couple of classes with you in the past and they are just so much fun. You make it so much fun. So are you looking for it just to get bigger and bigger? Is there like a dream in
to be honest, it might sound really unambitious, but I'm really happy with where it is. So it's growing organically. Yeah. So when I started 11 years ago, I was like, I need to be newspaper coverage. I want to get this. I want to and it's a lot of pressure. And in truth, now, and for the last however many years, I just go into every class thinking, I want to really enjoy it and I want everyone there to really enjoy it. Yeah. And because that's been the way of it for the last few years, since probably the pandemic, it has naturally become just a better class. And so it is growing anyway. So the numbers are growing constantly. I don't need them to keep growing. It's quite nice that they do, but I'm happy with that. I mean, I don't know, can't just be doing classes of 2,000 people crammed into a sports hall. So I don't know, it might get to a point if we were averaging 300 where I'd have to think about, right, I might have to cap this, but I don't need it to get seen worldwide because again, that would be for me and my ego, and I just don't need it. So I'm really happy with it. Antics Flex, the online stuff, can always grow because it helps people that I can't get to. Like I say, it's $9.99 a month, and you've got these little 10-minute videos, 15-minute videos, 20-minute videos that you can do from your home. So yeah, it does enable people to do these workouts, Antics style workouts, even if they're nowhere near me. So anticsfitness.com is the website. If
Perfect,
you go
yeah.
to that, you see Antics Flex. You can hit sign up now. It's got DJ Solly from Flex FM playing as well. They're all recorded at Flex FM. So there's a DJ playing, and then there's me working out with a guest. So they're cool. And nutrition plans are growing organically. I've done them since 2015, and yeah, they're growing, and they're constantly just growing gradually. So yeah, I'm wary of being like, I need it to get here, because then I might find that I'm unhappy until I get there. And when I'm there, I'll realise my life's not that different, and I'll just want something new anyway. So it's sort of like if like an Olympic athlete was working towards the Olympics in 4 years' time, and they wake up every single day like excited, like, I've got to train because my goal, I want to get that gold medal. And then if they get to the Olympics, even if they win the gold, they'll wake up the day after with this amazing sense of achievement, but it won't be long before they're like, well, what now?
What next? Yeah.
I'm quite bored, because my purpose was
to get there,
growing, like working towards something. So it's actually the journey is more important than the destination. The destination will constantly move. So if you're starting out on a fitness journey or a business or anything, thinking I need to look in this shape, or I'm not going to be happy, realize that even if you get there, you're going to find something else you don't like about yourself. The exciting thing is doing something today that's good for you, watching yourself grow. And yeah, so for Antics, keep helping more people. The more people I can help, the better. And the transformations are incredible. And I'm just happy to be able to provide that. And I'll keep doing that for as long as I possibly can.
Well, as I say, remind us again of where they can find Antics.
So, I mean, if you go to our social media, we've got a Facebook page which is called Antics New. Instagram is at PT Ant Nyman, not Panty Man, which is what how a lot of people read it. That is my other account.
Yeah, I was going to say the private one.
Yeah. PT Ant Nyman on X as well. Used to be Twitter, which is Antics Fitness. But I'd say the main places to find us would be the Facebook page Antics New, Instagram at PT Ant Nyman, website is anticsfitness.com, and the actual classes are in the Sutton area. So either in Overton Park in the summer, Monday evenings, Thursday evenings, Saturday mornings, or in the winter, so from September to May or April, we move indoors to various classes, schools like Sutton Grammar, Overton Grange School, Coshorton Girls, which is I think going to be becoming non-such. We're going to move to there instead. So always around the Sutton, Coshorton area. And yeah, if you're not local to that, of course, we've got the Antics Flex and the nutrition stuff as well. So that's how to find me, really. And yeah.
Well, they should definitely give it a go, because I say I've done a few of your classes and they are genuinely so much fun. So to come along, give it a go. And thank you for today. Thank you for being so open and so honest. I think many people agree. I think you're very grounded as well. And you're very, as you say, living for today and being very realistic. And I love that. So thank you for your time.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I'll come and join you for another class soon.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.